I just finished recording the first part of this video, which is about like talking like, oh, I arrived at an eco community in the middle of nowhere in Italy. So I talked about like people in this community and the fact that they were coming from all different countries, all different ages and stuff like that. And now I have like so many other things to reflect on, especially the fact that community is medicine, the fact that living in a community makes so much sense to me, and living like in a sustainable way makes so much sense too. So, if you're interested in that, just take some tea. We will just chit chat about those subjects. To talk more about like, to just give the context back like very quickly, I've been volunteering in an eco community in Italy for 1 month. I was supposed to stay 1 week. I stayed 1 month because it was like too good, like too incredible for me, and you will understand why. But yeah, something that I really felt when I arrived there is that everything makes sense. And actually, like a lot of people were crying from being like grateful of these places, but for me at first I was not feeling like those very extreme emotions in link to the place. Like I was not like so amazed by it, because like it was fully aligned, it was fully making sense to me. Like in my head it was exactly the way I wanted to live, and it was exactly all I imagined, um, a way of living that makes sense. So for me it was just like coming back home. It was really this feeling of coming back to something that is normal. It was not feeling like crazy when I was not reflecting on it, because for me it was feeling like normal. It was just feeling like, okay, it's the way we are supposed to live. It's the way that I feel that that is like very logic, and that's all. And then when I really reflect on it more objectively, like for example in this video and stuff like that, I really feel so grateful for the place. And now that I'm back in a normal way of living again, I'm at my parents' place, like in a normal house. I know that it's September, back to school, I will like come back to my university and stuff like that. Now I'm like, okay, now it feels, this place feels like a dream. But when I was there, like the first thing I was like, the thing I was like feeling all the time was, it makes sense. It makes sense all the time, all the fucking time. How can you like get it? Because like for me, it just like makes sense that this way of living is the way that we're supposed to live. But I know that when you're not in it, you cannot get it like fully. But this place really felt like, yeah, the way we were supposed to live. How can I explain why? Firstly, the fact that you live with people all the time, it made something to my brain. Like it made something to my brain by, I think it changed like something. I think you see like in Instagram or TikTok at some point there were a trend saying like, oh, those moments changed my brain chemistry or something like that. Being in this community changed my brain chemistry. Like, really, like the fact that we were living in community makes so much sense, because you are with people all the time. And when I say all the time, it's not to say that it makes sense to be with people all the time and not being alone at some point, but living with people makes the difference. Doesn't mean that 24 hours on 24 hours like with people, but I was living with people. And if I need like some time alone, I was like taking some time alone. But what was making the whole difference is that you live with people. So you basically wake up, work with people in the morning, like have breakfast with people in the morning, work together in the morning, basically having a sharing circle first thing in the morning to connect with every people, um, eating together at lunch. In the afternoon you live with people, so if you want to spend your free afternoon with people, you do it. But if you want to be alone, you can do it. But you know that if you have some time alone, you will come back to the community at some point. That's what makes the whole difference. Like, the community is the baseline. And maybe it's more like understandable if I compare it to the way I was living last year. Last year I was in exchange abroad in Edinburgh for 1 year. So I was basically like living in a uni accommodation with 3 flatmates, but I was not really knowing them. So I was like very, very alone in my flat, far away from my family, far away from my French friends. So I was living alone, and then that was my baseline, like living alone. And then on top of it, I can have like some social interactions, of course, of be meeting like some friends outside, like having my classes at university. But the baseline is living alone, and then I can have like some things with social interactions. And what completely makes the difference is that in the community, the baseline was the community. And then you can decide to have more social interactions, even more, or having like time alone. But the fact that the baseline is different totally makes sense to me. Like, for me, humans, we are so made for living in communities. It's something that I already knew, because like when you study like neurosciences, when you study history, sociology, anthropology, like of course that humans are made for living in community. We are like fucking social animals, basically. So we need to be with people all the time. So I knew it consciously. And when I was living in Edinburgh, like having this baseline of living alone was really feeling not good at all, not right. And I fully like embodied this idea and understood it from my very deep down self when I was in the community, because then I was like, whew, okay, actually, yes, the fact that the baseline is the community solve so many problems just by itself. Because like by living alone, it creates so many indirect problems of feeling lonely, having to make like a lot of efforts to meet people, sustain like friendships, stuff like that. And the only thing that can be like helpful by living alone is that you have like a lot of alone time. So when you have to recharge your social batteries, you can do your things. And I was thinking I was part of those people who needed a lot of time alone, because I really like to have my own projects and do things alone. So I was really thinking that living alone will be something that suits me. But actually, like by living alone, I really felt that no, I'm not made for living like that. Nobody is made for living like that, actually. Even if you feel like overwhelmed quickly and you need to refill your social battery like a lot, living in a community is made for you anyway. Because like living in a community doesn't mean that you have to be with people all the time, but it means that the baseline is the community, and after that you decide if you want like more time alone or not. But even if you're somebody who needs like a lot of time alone, like I do, living in a community is the best thing to do. best thing to do, because like you will take a lot of time alone, but when you will go outside of this like alone times, you will be with people very easily. You will not have to make a lot of efforts to consciously like see people and stuff like that. And it's something that is life changing, because when you have like a lot of alone times when you're living alone, you have to take a lot of efforts to actually like see some people, and it's very like draining. A meeting, like you see people like 1 or 2 hours for eating together, for just going to a cafe or something like that. It takes a lot of energy to organize the thing, to go to the place. Yeah, the meeting is basically like having a very very like draining conversation, not in a very bad way, but it's just that because you don't see each other a lot, you are like fully present and you will talk about like a lot of things. It's very like seeing each other, and it's not like living together, because when you live with people, even if you have a lot of time alone, when you will come back to see people, because you just live together, like the conversations will not be draining, because it's just like cooking together, it's going to make some laundry together, it's just living together. So it's not the same type of interaction, and it's not draining as much as like not living with people. I hope that it makes sense. But yeah, like living with people in community also made me realize that actually I'm not drained that much by people, because as I told you before, I was thinking that I was like I needed a lot of time alone, also because I was thinking that I'm drained very easily by social interaction. But by being in a community, I realized that it's not by having social interactions that I'm very drained. It's just like the type of social interaction, because if I see somebody only for 1 or 2 hours, very draining. If I live with people, it's fulfilling me. It's something that is like filling my jar, and actually like something that is that feels good. Something that really is fulfilling me, yes. And just like giving more life into me, because you will talk with people, and because those people are incredible energies and stuff like that, will just like create new ideas or put you in high energies, or just like make you relax and stuff like that. So it's very very like incredible to live in community for that. And something else I want to talk about is the fact that community is medicine. And when I was saying that actually living in a community is solving so many problems by itself, I really mean it. Because I really had this impression of, in our way of living, in our system, we will have like very different problems which indirectly comes from the system, and by still living in it, we will find to fight those little problems one by one, and it's very hard to find solutions to all of those little consequences, all those little problems, because we don't change the root problem, which is the system. To give you an example, like when we live in our like modern system of just like living alone and stuff like that, one thing that I already talked about is the fact that we live alone. So it's a problem that is caused by the system, but also for example, the problem with eating healthy. Okay, so no, this one is more linked to living sustainably, but yeah, what can I say about the causes of yeah, like basically feeling alone and having to meet a lot of people by doing like some coffee dates and stuff like that. It's something that is created by the system. And by living in a community, it just like changed the whole system. So the root cause is not existing anymore. So all those little problems that you were like trying to address like individually don't exist anymore. Like it just solves everything. Um, but that's a subject that is more about sustainability, I think. So I will talk about it later. But what I wanted to say about community is medicine is community is healing so much. Actually, when I arrived, people told to me, don't be scared. Like in the first days, you will probably get very emotional on everything. And I was like, do you think so? Because I'm somebody who already did a lot of work on myself, and when I have like some emotions, I know how to address them and work on them. So I was like, I don't think so, but okay. Girl, I got like so emotional. Like the first week, I was crying all the time. I was fucking crying all the time and releasing like, I think in 1 week I cried more than I don't know. I really cried a lot. I really cried a lot during this week, and I'm not somebody who cries a lot. And I was very emotional because all the fucking emotions were coming to the surface. Like all the things that I was thinking were solved, all the things that I was not even noticing came to the surface, and I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, I didn't know that I had all those shits, all this shit inside of me. Like, what are those fucking things? Um, but yeah, actually, like all the unsolved things, all the non-released emotions, like come came up to my mind, and I was like, oh my god, that's true. Like what people say about like getting emotional at the start, like is so true. And it's something that comes from the place, comes from the community, because like you arrive in a place where people are so kind, open-minded, eye people, like very emotional aware people, and you do activities which actually like hold space for you to feel safe and to release things. So actually like it's so normal and logical that everything comes up because you finally are in in an environment which make it safe to become emotional. And I think that's the reason why everything comes to the surface so easily, because in our day-to-day life in normal society you have to keep these cover, you have to keep like walls in front of you to keep protecting you, because you deal with people who are hurt too and who can hurt you, in situations in which you feel that it's not safe to be vulnerable. But when you arrive at this place and you actually feel so deep down that it's fully safe to be fully vulnerable and give everything, everything like is released and everything comes to the surface, and it's something that is crazy. It's becoming a child again. It's really seeing that you can express everything and people will help you, people will support you, people will be here to cry with you. And it was really this feeling, it's something I already said a lot, but when I was there I really had the feeling that if some emotions comes up at some point, I can go to the first person I see, go to this person and express everything, and this person will be here to cuddle me, to hug me, to help me, to welcome my tears and cry with me and be here with me. and we were like 30 people. So having this feeling of knowing that you can go to everybody and have this type of closeness and this type of openness and this type of connection is so powerful, because it's not something that you can do with a lot of people in normal life. And then like going there, being with strangers, objectively strangers, because we don't know each other from a long time, but knowing that you can be your most vulnerable self with them, it's, yeah, changed the chemistry of my brain too, because it's not something that we have in normal society at all. At all. And it's just like changed everything. I have goosebumps by talking about it, because it just like, it gives hope in humanity so much, because you see that it works. You see that it works to live together, that it's actually healing each other so much, and we can be here for each other so much, that it's actually like raising each other. And yeah, being like emotionally vulnerable, it's crazy when I think of it. It's just crazy. So it just like, as I was saying, it just like helped me to release everything. Also by the type of activities we were doing, like every morning we were doing like some sharing circle at some point. So it just helps you to actually be comfortable with hearing people say how they feel, because also at first, like, the fact that I was like very emotional was also because I was triggered a lot by so many things. Triggered like positively or negatively, but triggered. And for example, something that I was triggered at when I arrived was the fact that people were sharing their emotion like very openly in a very vulnerable way. And it was something that at first triggered me, because I knew that I was not doing it in my normal life. I knew that I was like holding walls in front of me not to do that. So the fact that at first when I arrived, to see like people doing it, and seeing that other people are welcoming it and holding the space and make it feel like a very comfortable to actually share those uncomfortable emotions, seeing people doing it just showed me that I can do the same. So I started to do the same, and it's exactly how it works. For example, we also did like women sharing circle, and at first I will like keep some distance, and then when I see people sharing like so openly and seeing how it is received in a very very good way, and showing to me that it's actually safe to do it, I will allow myself to do it. And that was the whole process with basically everything, until the point that I was like saying that it was comfortable, so I can start to show that it's comfortable to new people who arrive. I can be the person showing that I can take the initiative and sharing first, and showing that it's safe first for other people to do it too. So that's something like pretty incredible, and by doing it, it's healing. It's just the fact that this place allows us to release everything. It's healing. It's fucking healing, because when people give the space and welcome it in a very safe way, it's healing everything, because you know that healing is all about like releasing, and because you release so much and people in front of you are safe for doing it, it's doing the whole job. It's doing the fucking whole job. So yeah, what else to say? Like, this community healed me so much. Like, before coming, I had like those walls in so many ways, and I was also like very triggered by physical touch because like before coming there, I had like a pretty bad experience with a guy that was not very consensual. Is it the way you say it? Consensual? I don't know. I was not saying yes. That's what happened. So I was like very triggered physically by physical touch, especially by men. And I remember that when I arrived, like for me at first, it was impossible to hold hands with men. Like when at some point we were doing like benediction before meals, and when I was like next to men, I was started to hold hands, and then I was feeling like so bad that I had to stop like holding hands because I was feeling like very very triggered. Um, but then like after like few moments of connection with people, few sharing circles, few like very releasing moments, it felt like safer and safer to me, to the point that at the end of my stay, for me I was the person coming to hug my male friends. I was the one coming to hold hands, to have physical touch with everybody, and it was a huge shift. And it just like the first time that I hugged a man and it felt like so safe again, I wanted to cry so much. I wanted to cry so much because I was like, I was not thinking that I can recover this sense of safety this quickly, because I knew that at some point I will heal this part of myself, but probably I was thinking that it will happen with my next partner. I was not thinking that I can heal that with friends, with just men with who I have a huge connection. And same, like I was not thinking that I can be like this close to men, like in a friendship way. And I'm so like I have goosebumps again, but it's just like showing humanity so much, even with female friends, of just like meeting each other and understanding each other so much. Like I had a very like instant friendship moment with a girl. Like we just met and we felt the connection, and for 1 month we were like crazy together, even if we were not like all the time together, even if we didn't like knew each other that much, we knew that we were like very close. And it's the best sensation in the world to know that you are very close to somebody and it's fully safe. And it's something that I felt a lot in my first relationship. I was like thinking, oh my god, I didn't know that it you can be like this close to another human, and I didn't know that you can be like this safe with another human. And it was, at some point it was like kind of the way I was feeling with other people. Of course, not to this level because I was not as close with them as my partner, but almost like it was really the same type of feeling that you can like melt and people around you will hold you. And that's incredible. That's the best feeling in the world, and it's so 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 healing. So it makes sense to live in community in this way, and it also makes sense to live in a sustainable way, because since the beginning I'm talking about the fact that it was a community, la 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 la, but it's an eco community. So the way we are living, I say we are living because I still think that I'm part of the thing. But the way we were living and the way they are living currently is very like in harmony with nature, and it makes so much sense. Like the fact that it's a beautiful environment in the mountains, the fact that we are cultivating the land, the fact that they are growing their own food, the fact that all the activities that we are doing, when we think about it, we think about the sustainable aspect of it, just makes sense. Just fucking makes sense. And it's, nature is also healing. Spending time in nature is so healing too, because you feel that it's the way you're supposed to live. Like, you feel that you're supposed to be barefoot in the grass, you feel that you're supposed to be hands in the dirt, you feel that growing food is actually what we are meant to do. Like, it was not what I did the most, because when I was volunteering, what I did the most was creating videos for the social media pages of the place. But I think like 2 or 3 mornings I did, like, I was part of the agriculture team, and I was diving. I was basically like, how do you say that? Digging. Yeah, digging the land. I don't have the vocabulary in English, it's horrible. The sol, la terre, the earth. I was digging, and it was like making so much sense to me to see like the progress visually, to see how long it takes for a lettuce to grow up, a zucchini to grow up, an onion to grow up, to actually make it with your hands. It makes so much sense, because again, like, it addresses all the problems of the old system. Like, as I said, like, changing the system, resolve all indirect problems. For example, in the system, something that is like an indirect problem and consequence of it is that we can burn out from work, especially if we don't see the results. We don't have meaning in the work we do. That's what I wanted to say. We don't have meaning in the work we do. We feel so disconnected. We see that our job is basically a bullshit job. Like, we're doing something that is actually like not having real consequences, and we're doing something that is not important, something that doesn't make sense, like something that has no meaning inside of it. And it's a problem that is totally solved by the way, if you live like sustainably and you cultivate the land, like the work you're doing in, oui c'est bon, the work you're doing is basically like so meaningful, because everything we do is for the community and is for living. So basically, by changing the system and doing something that is like, you see the effects, it's totally solved the problem. Because when I was like digging the fucking floor, I was thinking like, oh my god, yeah, actually what I do is meaningful, because I know that after that my work will allow to grow some food that we will eat. When I was doing like other stuff, such as I was in the kitchen and cooking for the whole community, like, it is meaningful because I see like the results with my eyes in a very short amount of time. I see that people like 1 hour after that will eat what I did. So you see the results of your work, so it's so meaningful. Yeah, so meaningful. It makes sense. And also it has like so many like indirect like good consequences, such as like putting the work to cultivate yourself the food is making like so many positive impacts, because you understand the amount of work it requires to grow one single lettuce. So basically, when after that you have to cook it, and when after that you have to eat it, everything is meaningful. When you cook it with love, because you know the amount of work you had to do, or the community had to do to have it, and the amount of time it took to have it. So it becomes sacred. It becomes sacred again, because food is something sacred. We just forgot that it was by the system, because when you just go to the grocery store and just buy a fucking lettuce, it's not sacred at all, because you don't see the work and you haven't put the work for doing it. So when you grow it, when you cook it, and when after that you eat it, everything is meaningful. And when you eat it, you actually like put the intention and the love, and you actually feel like so grateful for eating this lettuce. If it was exactly the same lettuce, like, but in the this normal system of you buy it, you cook it alone in your apartment, you eat it in front of watching a series, you will never felt like that grateful for this fucking lettuce. But in the system of an eco community, you feel so grateful. Every single bite, you're grateful for the people who grew the food, the people who cooked it. You're probably part of those people too, so you feel proud. You feel like so grateful for having it, basically, for having it. And it's also like, it makes so much sense to do it yourself instead of buying it. Also, something I noticed is that because it's very like in the middle of nowhere and the community is providing everything, I was spending no money, like, because I had like nothing to buy. The food was there. I had all my stuff. If something break, like, I can ask other people to borrow something, or to make it repair together, or to do something, to exchange something with somebody. So at the end, like, the whole community is a little bubble, and I don't need to buy like other stuff from outside. That was like what I realized. So I saved like I saved so much money in 1 month of staying there, because I was buying nothing. Like, I didn't use my fucking wallet for 1 month almost. The only thing that I was spending money was like buying some cake made by a grandma that was like 1 kilometer away, because we were going to some hike and buying some cakes from her. So money makes also something different, because for example, like in the community, some people were selling some stuff, for example, like some bracelets, some massage, some classes and stuff like that. Money becomes like very positive, because in the old system, like, money is devil. Like, in my head, like, money was associated with very negative things, because it comes from like very negative system. But when you are in another system and you actually use your money to give to people who actually like put so many love into their work, and you actually like show with your money that you value their work and their time, money becomes so positive. So it's also solving like another indirect problem of the old system. So yeah, those are the things that I'm thinking now. I know that I have so many other things to talk about, but for now I think it's enough. I will probably make other videos talking about this subject, but yeah, probably next time. Bisous.